that? And then lastly, what's the timeline? And so all that has been wrapped up into a presentation that is before you this evening. So with that, I can turn it over. I will turn it over to the team.
Good evening, Council, honorable guests, and community of Lemon Grove. I am Jason Nedong, and these are my colleagues Madison Rolfe, Francesca Rudetsky, Colin McGregor, Tyler Jones, Eric Vang, and our youngest member, Roman Rudetsky. We are the Urban Design Club from the New School of Architecture and Design in East Village downtown. And we are requesting a 90-day permit to use and activate the Lemon Grove Promenade with the option to renew for 30 days. We will utilize the extra 30 days to fundraise with events if we are unable to meet our minimum goal of funding prior to December 31st. We would like to implement human-based design and research to rejuvenate Lemon Grove Promenade Park and create a walkable connection to downtown as an extension and amenity to the adjacent homes and businesses as it was originally designed to do. Our design is a low-cost, low-risk venture with the potential to morph into something bigger with the investment of the community and stakeholders. So, how will students accomplish such a large goal in such a short time? Our vehicle for this design is the philosophy of tactical urbanism. Utilization of professional real-world resources such as the advice of our mentors, teachers, and most of all the input from your community to fuel our design. Tactical urbanism is based on low-cost, practical, and incremental implementation of elements to an environment with a big impact to show possibilities that promote hope and complement what is already great about your local community of hardworking people that take ownership of their community. We started our community outreach by placing signs in the park, providing a blank space for people to write in and enter their answer to answer the question, what do you want to see in your park? Place their entrances in various other areas. These signs filled up by the second week containing very little vandalism and actually a lot of positive feedback. After the refresh after those 2 weeks, we did not get very much feedback at that time. So we took this to mean that this park is frequented by mainly regulars. The chore of placing and replacing these signs allowed us valuable observation and interaction with a group of regulars, especially a very helpful person named Charlie Brown. And we actually caught a glimpse of the elusive resident rooster, which we called Henrietta. We also held community meetings with the helpful residents and administration of the Citronica and Celsius buildings adjacent to the park and gathered their input and distributed surveys door to door asking about their usage of the park. Spread awareness of our project at Berry Park by attending concerts at the park. This is a community full of soul and characters. For further reference, we also utilize the research by the SAGE project, which is based out of San Diego State University. Now to explain our research findings is Madison Rolfe.
So from the signs that we showed, we received over 200 handwritten notes from the community. Taking this feedback and the concepts that we saw most repeated, the community was asking for a food amenity within the space, a child play area within the space, and security. Overall, the ones below that you can see there summarize that the community wanted events and activities within their space, shows, art events, fitness events. Further, from door-to-door surveying, we found that we asked the community, how often do you use the park currently? So our overall feedback being 54% was that it was used monthly or less. We found it interesting that the community actually took the time, 27% of people handwrote in that they never went to the prominent parks. That's something that we of course want to change. Even further, meeting with the community members through hosted events at Celsius and Citronica, we saw that the community, again, wanted events overall to have family-friendly events within the space, and they can then use the amenities such as the dog park or playground. Asking for feedback throughout this process, what amenities they thought the park currently had and what amenities they thought the park needed. Again, we got the feedback overall that the community didn't feel the park had the amenities such as seating, security, and activities, and overall that this is something that they wanted to put in within the space.
So the park was built in 2012 and it won an orchid. The problem isn't so much the design, it's just that it's mostly empty. up until recently, the construction on the north end, blocked off the north end. So now that's open, and we're hoping to see some increased circulation, but just driving by, I haven't seen that happen. So there's only about 200 feet that's directly visible from the street. The majority of the park is sandwiched between the apartment complexes and the trolley line. So we thought that creating reasons to be on the north end of the park in this area would create circulation that would overflow into the businesses downtown. And we wanted to draw people into the center of the park because it's such a linear space, it's really difficult to keep it secure. So increased activity in the center would create a safer space. So we looked at case studies. Clyde Warren Park is a really successful park in
getting no more color in here.
Okay. So Clyde Warren was incredibly successful. This is not a direct correlation to our park because Lemon Grove is not Dallas, but the idea that property values increased 40 to 65% within 3 years, and that was a result of the park creating walkable connections between the downtown and the uptown, and it was also the fact that it's a very heavily programmed park, and there's commercial aspects that support the maintenance, and they are able to bring in events because of that. In our own backyard, we have the City Heights Canyon restoration, which was another successful reinventation of space. So up until this project, the canyon was used for places for homeless people to sleep. And it was dirty, it was inaccessible. Just with a few community-driven, simple changes, they were able to make this really beautiful amenity for the community to use. All they did was establish an entry point. They replanted natural plants, and they added amenities so that the community could access the trail.
Most people in the community don't even realize there's a completely habitable public space between the trolley line and the apartment complexes, signifying that there is a public park interpolated between the two while filling the space with joyful amenities will turn the current space around for the better. Based off community feedback, we collected that implementing an increase in shade, seating, and activities would be the most impactful changes we could make to the park with a limited budget. Through increased activity due to the implementation of these new welcoming amenities, the park will become more secure and safe for everyone to enjoy.
In order to accomplish our design goals, we have focused on several specific areas of improvement for the Promenade Park. First, we plan to install signage at the north and south ends of the park to increase visibility and awareness of the park. As we have learned from our meeting with local community members from Celsius and Citronica, play areas for kids and young children are some of the most important issues of concern for the park. In order to facilitate kid-friendly spaces, we plan on creating fun and interactive play features, such as a tire park made from clean used tires, assembled and stacked. Along with the play features, we plan to include shading and seating for parents and families to rest and watch after their children, or just relax and enjoy the park. Here we have a rendering of an ideal park setting. Budget permitting, we would like to include turf in specific locations to create texture and help mitigate the heat and roughness of the concrete pavement. We also have shown some simple and cheap games as well as mobile seating. With the help of Mike Burnett, we hope to activate the empty lot next to the Celsius Apartments with games, food trucks, shade, and seating. This would create a centralized lounge area with regular amenities for everyone to enjoy.
So today, right now, the lot, it's an empty dirt lot with a porta potty on it. Tomorrow, if you approve this plan, we can put like a nice seating area and bring food to the area for the apartment complexes. But in order to have a real long-term impact, almost every other park that we looked at that was a really successful urban space. So for example, Fair 44 and Courtyard does this. They had a commercial aspect that brought in revenue that supported the maintenance and supported and acted kind of like the security for the park. And we thought that this would be a really good place to bring that in. Eventually, not with our plan.
As far as seating and shade, we plan to provide flexible seating to allow park users the ability to arrange and adjust the seating as they would like, which gives them the ability to personalize the space as if it were their own. The most important feature, here we have an image of a night scene where the area is lit by string lights, creating a more ambient atmosphere, and more relaxing, safe environment, as opposed to just the street lights beaming down as it is now. We plan, the most important feature to create a safe, friendly dog zone would be fencing. To delineate a barrier at the border of the proposed dog park area, we have two options: post in-ground fencing and temporary T-stand fencing.
So we've been in contact with C.D. Dillon, who's actually here today, and he just bought the neighborhood market, or the old neighborhood market, and it's going to turn into a pet hospital. So we wanted to partner with him, and one of the things that is occurring on his site plan is there's the plan to create a dog run, and we asked if he would be willing to finance the dog run in the public park as opposed to in the private on his private lot, and that way he would be able to retain 2 parking spaces, which is a considerable benefit to him, and we would be able to get a public dog run. And we thought that would be. Unfortunately, the planning commission meets next in mid-January, I believe. So this would be a later implementation into our plan.
So here we are planning to work with Studio Nectary to plant and maintain flowers and herbs for park goers to enjoy and interact with. As expressed in our community meeting, a safe area for children to play is a very high priority. With proper fencing, we can create a safe, kid-friendly play area for young children to run and play safely. Furthermore, with the addition of some simple musical instruments, we can make a fun and creative space for children to play. Most, if not all of these instruments can be built from cheap or free reclaimed materials. Also, we have spoken with Monarch School in Barrio Logan and High Tech High to possibly have students participate in making instruments for this play area. As far as fencing for this area, we have calculated out that for 90 days, the price of renting a temporary fence. What? Which one?
So one of the things that came out of the community meetings was having a gated area for small children especially. This location is adjacent to the community center on Citronica, right there. So we thought that this would be a really good place to kind of fence off and create like a safe space so parents could kind of relax and let their kids run around a little bit and interact with the herbs and the sounds.
So how will this play out? Our activation method to prime the park for organic use for our residents is going to be through events. So our main pillars of events are going to be a New Year's Eve party to kick off the park's installation. Then going on from there, Martin Luther King Day and Valentine's Day celebrations. We have been in communication with the community garden. They said that they would facilitate monthly walks from their garden to our herb garden. And Studio Nectary, as aforementioned, will be partnering with us to set up the herb garden and get all the plants planted. the instruments put together, and that will be shortly after the New Year's Eve party. From there, we've also been speaking with Art and Science Complex to hold an art workshop, Imaginaria, as well as PAWS, which is a partner of the San Diego Humane Society, to host a free event for our community so that they can get amenities and services for their dogs and cats, I suppose, for their pets. Not mentioned here, we've also spoken with Keyshawn Weaver from City Heights. He hosts career fairs there at Fair at 44. He would bring the career fair here to Lemon Grove and allow our community members job opportunities within the city of San Diego. The city has reached out to, we have spoken with the city and agreed to have the bathrooms open for these events, which was something that was highly requested from the community when through the signs, going out and talking to people, just getting stopped, even like looking at the signs and trying to maintain them and asking for the restrooms to be opened again. We also hope that the events will have the potential to become fundraising opportunities to fund the park moving forward.
With $10,000, we would be able to implement all of our ideas we have listed so far within the park, while still maintaining a small amount of surplus, which would be used for purposes such as maintenance, investing in extra furniture, putting a down payment on the food trucks, or other things. The bare minimum that we can move forward with is $2,500. With this amount, we can install seating in shaded areas, as well as signs and the tire play area for children. With the least amount of money, we believe these to be the most impactful change that we can possibly make on the park. If we do not raise this amount, whatever funds we do have raised would go towards either a single event or an entire week of events in the park. With $5,000, we would be able to implement the dog park and the enclosed children area, providing the music and art garden with a low-cost fence option. We currently have a functional GoFundMe account which accepts donations, and we are partnering with the New School Foundation as our fiscal sponsor. Unless the donor is willing to finance an entire amenity, for example, all the costs associated with building the dog park or the herb garden, the money we obtain will then be pooled and then spent in order of our priorities listed here: furniture and shade first, signs, tire play area, etc. After 90 days, or the accumulative 120 if granted an extension for an additional 30 days, the money spent funding this temporary project will not go to waste. If the residents or the city decides that furniture should not stay in the park, then it can be retained and then used for other city events such as the bonfire or for the movies in the park.
So the Promenade Park is definitely a gateway to Lemon Grove. It's the first thing you see coming off the 94, and it's the entrance from the trolley. It should be celebrated as an important feature within our community. For the downtown to become a viable commercial district, it's imperative that this becomes a walkable, activated area. If the promenade is successful, it will increase foot traffic, which will overflow into the nearby businesses, creating a symbiotic relationship between the two. A stroll in the park after meeting a meal at El Pollo Grill, or the impulse to get a coffee at Ryan Brothers after taking your dog to the dog park.
This has been a community-driven effort, which is low risk and carries a low price tag. And we plan to work with the city in order to act in compliance with all city laws and codes. If granted a 90-day temporary permit with option to renew for 30 days, we believe we can contribute to healthy businesses and encourage a flourishing downtown. Thank you.